Hello everyone, welcome back to the PACT Mantality podcast with me, Paul Garrigan. And tonight we've got a very special guest. He's a music legend in the city, massive on the DJ scene, on the club scene. He's a radio presenter and he also runs an incredible programme for addiction called Break Free. He's doing incredible things in the city to help the people who are suffering with addiction. It is Lee Butler.
I tell you what, mate, I wouldn't mind that intro. Yeah. You know when I'm doing my gigs?
Yeah.
I love that, mate.
I'll
Big
come
siren
on,
behind it.
Like that?
Yeah, whoop, whoop, whoop. He's a legend of the city. Whoop, whoop.
Mate, I felt nervous introducing you then,
no,
you know.
it was good, you know.
I did, mate.
How are you? You all right?
I'm good, mate, yeah. So
good.
Usually start with a little bit of a check-in, brother.
Yeah.
Just to see what's been going on for you. How was your Christmas and stuff like that, mate?
Good, you know. Good, yeah. Quieter than normal, which is good. Now I'm getting older, a bit older.
Yeah.
I'm really more aware and being more precious in my time as I'm getting older, and as obviously I've finally broke free from my addiction. Lots of things change, but yeah, I had 2 weeks off from the radio for my brekkie show, so
Lovely.
Obviously getting up at 4:30 every morning doing my breakfast shows. It's good to have a break for it. So it took 2 weeks out from getting up, which was nice. So I had some nice lie-ins. I had my big gig, 2 big gigs on Boxing Night at the Shankly and at the State. And then New Year's Eve, I had off for the first time ever. I stayed in New Year's Eve, just me and the wife. And brought New Year's Eve in. And all my kids are older now. So my lad's 27. He's got his own place with my little granddaughter and his girl Millie. And then my daughter was out, my lad was out. So, yeah, it was nice. It was quiet and just like I wanted it, really.
Yeah. Mine was pretty similar, mate. We just sort of... We didn't do anything. We didn't drink, nothing like that. We just had a lot of family time, you know what I mean? And New Year, I think we were in bed at 10 o'clock, mate.
Were you?
In bed and then
You seen the New Year in a sleep?
I was asleep, mate, yeah. I was asleep, but I had a men's community walk then the next day and I've had a lot of planning to do for PACT, you know what I mean? Getting things ready, a 28-day programme I'm doing, mate.
I seen that on New Year's Day, yeah, because we had our recovery walk on the New Year's Day was a Saturday, wasn't it? Yeah, we had one around Crocky Park as well.
I think it's a boss idea, mate, because everyone's usually goes into the new year feeling like shit, hungover, you know what I mean? So I thought, why not try and break?
Absolutely, and giving people that commitment on such an important day as well. Especially on the addiction side of it, these people, New Year's Eve's a big night for people and people's addiction to try and start hounding them to pick that drink up, toast the new year, just have one and all the usual stuff. So having that commitment in the morning is dead important.
Yeah, it gives them something to stay in for, doesn't it? And to look forward to, mate, on a New Year's Day, I think, and certainly helped me over the years, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
But let's get into the podcast, Lee,
Let's go.
Let's dive a little bit deeper, mate, you know what I mean? And let's see where this journey takes us, brother, yeah? Let's start, mate, on your earliest childhood memories and then just guide us through your life, mate, how that's been for you.
So, brought up in Highton, just off Pilch Lane. First of all, we were in Campbell Drive, which is just off Pilch Lane, and we moved 2 streets back to Swanside Road, and I was in Malvern School, and I had a really good childhood. Loved me footy. That's what I wanted to be, a footballer.
Yeah.
Played for Highton Boys, at Melwood, was training at Melwood when I was 11 and 12.
Good player then.
Centre forward.
Yeah.
And leading goal scorer for everyone I played for. And that was what I desperately wanted to be, a footballer. Then when I got to like 15, 16 and I could start going out, like probably lots of people. Once I started going out, my commitment to my football
Fell away,
yeah. But yeah, I was just obsessed with football when I was a young kid. And I had a good childhood. Obviously my dad has been in radio all his life.
Yeah.
You know, so I've lots and lots of memories of my dad and his music, and that was probably a big inspiration for what I wanted to do. But you know, I'd be lying if I said to you it was all good, because it wasn't. Do you know, my mum and dad split up when I was young.
How old was that?
I think I was probably... memory's not the greatest, you know, after 20 years of absolute abuse.
Yeah.
But I reckon I was probably 13, 14. I reckon. Because we moved, we lived in Highton, I think my dad must have got a promotion because he went from Radio City to Radio Merseyside, from Radio Merseyside to Radio City and back to Merseyside, and he had the brekkie show on both. So he was definitely getting outbidded. There was a few quid going on because we moved from Heighton to Blundell Sands.
Yeah,
and
nice.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, it's a big change.
And I was devastated, you know, because our homie mates were in Heighton, and we went from like a football school, where I was like, they took the two most important things off me. They took me footy off me, and they just put me in an all-boys school. So they took the girls and me footy.
Yeah.
I was distraught. I was like leading goal scorer and top playboy in school. And then there I am wearing shorts and a blazer in an all-boys school in Crosby. And so we moved up to Blundell Sands, and you know that it didn't affect me that much really, because I got new mates up there and I took to that quite well. But it was around that time that my mum and dad split up, and it's not a nice experience for people. It's not. My brother Stuart, he's 6 years older than me. When we moved from Heighton, he didn't move. He went and stayed in Heighton. He stayed in my nan's in the Bluebell. Yeah. He was seen to be in the Bluebell and Blundell Sands. Yeah. So he stayed there. So I sort of seen a lot of the arguing and the fighting that went on. Yeah,
around it a lot, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think my mum and dad at times, mate, they'd be like a lot like that, like splitting up or arguments and things like that, and it can be a little bit uncomfortable, mate. And I think sometimes we underestimate. Certainly, I think the effect that had on me growing up, like in terms of like suffering with like maybe anxiety and things like that. It's just a sense of unsafety in my body. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you never had that safety as a young lad, maybe. But yeah, let's go into like school then, Lee. What was that like for you? Like, what schools did you go to, and how was that for you? Who was you knocking about with, and what people were you getting about?
In school, I was in Malvern. I loved it there. It was in Heighton, and I've been back there during lockdown when they were doing a big fundraiser, and DJed there for all like, the young kids there now, and I still stay in touch with lots of the teachers there, and I loved it in Malvern. And we got to like the Lancashire Cup. I played at Anfield, scored the winner there in the Lancashire Cup.
Cop end?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. I've got it on video as well, you know.
Okay.
My dad, when I used to play football, he was probably the first person with a video camera. Yeah. My dad. I'm talking like I was only 10, 11. So that's what, like 39, 40 years ago. And he had a video camera. Well, it was like a fucking phone box. I don't know how he carried it on his shoulder. He was like standing up on the side of the pitch, and this big massive camera was like this. But I've got, it's great. I'm very much like that with my kids now, and like I'm videoing, taking photos and keeping stuff and keeping it in folders. So I've got lots and lots of footage of me when I was playing football. So yeah, Malvern was great. Then I moved. We was in school in Heighton, and when we left Heighton to go to Blundell Sands, he moved me to St Mary's College, which was a Christian Brothers school. So if you're in school in Heighton and you're like playing footy, and you know you've got girls and all the usual stuff, to move to an all boys school, a Christian Brothers school as well, was fucking strict, Paul. Yeah, like.
Is that the one on Little Crosby? Is it?
Yeah. As you come through on the left.
Yeah.
And they played rugby and not footy. And because I was quick, he had me out on the wing, and I hated it. I hated playing rugby. I was just like... So, it's sort of a period I've never really dwelled on an awful lot. But looking back, now I'm talking about it, there's lots of stuff, I suppose, that was quite tough for me, thinking about it. Yeah. But I made loads and loads of new mates there. Loads. And we were, you know, when I got to like 15, 16, I left school. Didn't do very good in St Mary's. I think my dad paid them off on the entrance exam, you know. I'm sure he weighed them in. Because I took the entrance exam 3 times. It was unheard of. And I reckon he said, listen, I'll give you a few mentions on the radio and a few quid. Let Ali in. So I wasn't the brightest. I wasn't thick. It was O-levels then. Yeah. Did you do O-levels? No. Didn't you? You GCSEs?
GCSEs, mate.
Trying to fucking make out you dead young. So I did O-levels. I got my English literature, my English language, and that was it. So I've always been good at English, grammar, but everything else, I didn't do great in my exams and I left school. And when I left school, I went to Ubird College and done an electrical installation course
Right.
in Ubird. I got kicked off that as well after 18 months. So at this point, my mum and dad had split up. And my dad was like, he had a friend who was a spark. And that's where that come from. He went, look, I'll get you, you'll go and do your course, get a trade. And so I was house bashing when I was like 17, 18, climbing under floorboards. But by that time, in like 1988, the acid house scene had started, the early sort of rave scene. So I'm on building sites with this like ghetto blaster, just banging out these big tunes. And like to all these, say normal people, to all these like normal workies, they're like, what's this shite that you're playing? I was like in roof spaces and under floorboards, like there was all big acid house tracks.
Yeah.
And our Stu was a joiner. Like, he had a good trade. So at that point, that was the start of me sort of getting swept away by this new sound. And I think it was like probably 17, 18 then.
Yeah.
And I was going out then. The Quadrant Park, which became sort of an absolute legendary rave acid house club in Liverpool and across the UK. But before the Quadrant Park became like an acid house rave club, it was like a Sharon and Tracy club in like 1986, 7, 8, around them times. Charlie C was the DJ. You know, Charlie's like legendary in Liverpool. He's like soul and R&B. And like, so we used to go there. I was getting in there when I was 17.
Yeah.
And our Stu was like 23. And so I was going there then. But then as this new like acid house and dance scene kicked in, I was just like swept away by it. And then when the Quadrant Park kicked in like 89, sort of there was lots of little pockets of this like rave scene up and down the country. But in 1990, and I was 20 then. And in 1990, when the Quadrant Park kicked in, that's when it all just changed completely. Regards like what I wanted to do, drugs, the whole scene. I mean, anyone who watches this podcast who went to Quad and whenever I talk about the Quadrant Park, it's got such an incredible special place in so many people's hearts, because it was just like, if you've ever get a minute to go onto YouTube and type in Quadrant Park 1990, it's just literally like Robbie Fowler's just scored the winner in the last minute in a derby. It's just going off to songs like you would never believe. But what went with that was Ecstasy. In 1990, it was like, it was Ecstasy and rave, and that was it. Up and down the country, whether it was Shelley's in Stoke, Hacienda in Manchester, Quadrant Park in Liverpool, or illegal raves, Fantasia, warehouses, people breaking into warehouses and setting illegal raves up. It was just this scene that swept generations away. And it was like, it was the coming together of all different generations. It was people on the dole, solicitors, lawyers, brickies, joiners, all with the tops off. The same people that were dancing to Curiosity Killer Cat or Luther Vandross in a suit a year later were rubbing Vicks Vapor Rub on the chest with a fucking glow stick with the top off. The same people. And fucking hugging each other and like promising to go on holiday together after like 10 minutes and sharing chewies and fucking, do you want to stay in ours? Just ecstasy, and all the music was just like, and these same people were like, what the fuck? What's going on here? Like, this is unreal. And like generations were swept away by that. And the ones that were there then, it's a very special time. Like,
so who's you putting yourself around in, like, say, your teenage years and leading into like your late teens, if you like? What type of people were you putting yourself around? Was there ever any type of like, did you have role models and people that you looked up to, or any older lads, you know what I mean? Was you in that
brother,
type of
probably.
Yeah.
Do you know, like, when you've got an older brother like that, and he was especially in that era there, they were like 3 or 4 very special years. And it's you know, when I'm talking about drugs and addiction and recovery, I can't lie and say that there wasn't a part of that drug taking scene that I enjoyed. Of course there was. If there wasn't part of it you enjoyed, you wouldn't have fucking carried on.
Exactly.
If when I first started taking ecstasy and started taking drugs, not just straight away, for quite a big section of my drug taking time, I had some fucking amazing nights.
Yeah.
You know, when I do shares at places, people say, do you regret taking drugs? And I regret where they led me to.
Yeah.
But I had some of the best nights ever
Yeah.
that I wouldn't want to give back. Some of them nights, but, you know, my use led to abuse, led to a really, really bad addiction.
Yeah.
But at that point, I suppose friends-wise, I didn't really have any role models that I wanted to be like. Once that scene kicked in, I was just...
Was you putting yourself around, obviously, was all your mates like normal Scouse lads, if you like, just all up to the fucking... The things you were all up to at that age, you know what I mean? Was you just putting yourself around them type of lads, you know what I mean? Like so many of us do, mate, don't we?
Yeah. And in that scene, at that point, honestly, Paul, like 89, 90, 91, 92, all I was asked about was going out.
Yeah.
That's it.
And we are though with that. Well, it's
like,
certainly, mate, I think, do you think it's like a conditioning thing? Like we sort of like, we were led down that path. Like I feel I was, to an extent, mate. It was always like growing up. If you're having a bad time, have a drink. But if you're having a good time and you've just achieved something, go and have a drink. So I felt like for me, I was led down that path that I didn't choose. But obviously, you know, I had a choice, but I didn't know I had a choice. You know what I mean? Sort of like conditioned to like drink, and then that led to drugs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that is in society, and that's still there now.
Yeah, of course.
Like, especially the drink side of it. Yeah. If you take the drugs out of it for a second, you know, if you go into it, and I have this with lots of people who are in my recovery group and in my recovery program. If you walk into a pub or I walk into a bar and I'm standing there and there's 5 or 6 lads that you're with and 3 or 4 of them don't know you, and they say to you, what do you want from the bar? And I say, I'll have a lime and lemonade. And they go, why aren't you having a bevy? And I go, no. And they go, fuck, how come? They will question why you're not having a drink.
Yeah, of course.
And they will go, well, I say, I
don't... You're weird, you.
Yeah. And that's still there nowadays. Yeah. But when you look at it, if you talk about the drug side of it, it's not as much like that way. If you go to them, someone offers you a line of coke and you go, I don't take drugs, mate, you probably won't get an answer back. They'll go, okay.
Yeah.
They won't question you and push you on that. But if you go, I don't drink, you know, and they go, how come? Say, not even a little bevy now and again. Fucking hell. Aren't you a bit of a bore, aren't you? Fucks up with him. Just have one. Fucking what's up with you? There will be that push. Like, it's not normal to not drink.
They go so much hand in hand now as well, don't they? Like for me, certainly. So I think that's like always been... gateway, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's always been there. Yeah. But the thing is, with that scene, when it kicked off, it was just like, we just lived for the music and the ecstasy. At that point, we were just like, we'd go the quads and park Saturday, we'd be up all night, all the next day, we'd be driving up and down up motorways looking for like the illegal parties after the quad. And then back to someone's house, back to a flat, somewhere else the next day. It'd be Sunday night by the time you got home, and you'd go kip and you'd be asleep till Monday, Tuesday, then you'd just about get yourself sorted, and then you were just like talking about the weekend again, and then it was like, like
living for the party.
And it was all about ecstasy, and that was it. We were just swept away by it all. Yeah. And that was like that for a few years. But at that point, that's where me desire to be a DJ was. So
you were still doing you were still an electrician at this time, or trainee electrician, and you were sort of
I was doing
half in, half out.
Yeah. I'd been to college, I was working a bit, and when I left, like, I was with this Vince, his name was, and his second name was Dwyer, and was Butler, so my dad got us a van, D&B Electrical Services, and I lost the both of them, down to the rave scene. The first one was a Peugeot 205, and we went to an illegal rave up Blackburn ways. And I drove there, got there, parked the car, went to the illegal rave, just like was round the bend. Forgot I'd gone in the car, just like with this new set of people, and met all these people and the ecstasy and the music, and like by the time we come out in the morning, I'd forgot I'd gone in the car and just come home on the coach with them. I was like, fucking shit. So that one went. Yeah. So I fell out with my partner, but he was the boss then, and then he got me a little mini Metro, a red one, and that was the next one. Yeah. And then he ends up leaving that one outside the Quads and Park for 3 days, and someone robbed it, and that's when I lost my job. Then that was probably like 1990. Yeah. And I just wasn't bothered.
So is that how it led to the DJing, and you sort of lost your job, and you're like,
I was just in the club, Paul, right, and there was like 2,500 people the ecstasy revolution's there. The atmosphere is just incredible.
Yeah.
And looking at the DJs, Mike Nola, John Kelly, Andy Carroll, but more John and Mike.
Yeah.
And looking at them playing, and they've got like 2,500 people in the palm of their hand. They're like literally the conductor of the crowd. And I'm like, fuck. The music had already swept me away, but then when I was seeing them, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So I then got talking to them in there. I spent hours with Mike Nola, just me and Mike sitting on the floor, eat up, sledging our heads off, just like talking about the music. And then, you know, the Cotton Park closed down, and then I got my first set of decks around that time. And I started buying vinyl, and then that was it. Then I was just like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
This is what I want to do. I was just besotted with it. And we were following John Kelly up and down the country. He started a night called G-Love in the Mardi Gras, which was on Bold Street, which was the Thursday, which is sensational. And then Paul's got a nightlife history of rave of the rave scene, and like no other city.
Yeah.
Like the Liverpool people who were in that scene in the 90s, all the naughties, from the quad, then to the state, and even the state in the late 80s when it was more like the Smiths and the Clash and more like new romantic stuff. Then the quad, and then the state, and even then if you were on about the Cream in 93, which is like global, worldwide success. The 051, if you're a more commercial, the Paradox in 80, or Barcelona Bar, or Garland's.
What about Secrets?
Society. Secrets in Netherlands.
Yeah.
You're dodgy, you.
That went far from
that
my
was
house,
chicken
mate.
in a basket, that. And they put Secrets in Netherlands. Would put, even like if you go down the Secrets route and the Grafton, and like some people, where I have my special moments in the quad, people say to me, people who went to quad go, it's not the same now for like people who went the 051. Say I went the 051 in 96. I was in the state 92 to 95. I went to Buzz 95, 96. And October 96, I started the 051 with Dave Graham.
Yeah.
But there's people who started going the 051 when they was 18, 19 in 1996, 7, 8, 9, 2000, who had 12 months, 18 months, 2 years of the same experiences I had when I was 20 in the quad.
Yeah.
It's just that we think them moments were more special.
Yeah.
They were a bit more special because no one had ever experienced it before. It's like that first time of anything.
Yeah.
That generation in 89, 1991 were like, what the fuck's this? What's this music? What are these we're taking? What's this feeling we're getting? Whereas everything after that, people had done it before, or the younger lot, brothers and sisters, had played these songs.
Yeah.
So it was sort of, they'd heard the songs, they'd heard the music, they knew about the scene, then they went out. Whereas to us, it was like, wow.
Watch this.
This is just, what the fuck's this? And that's something special about that moment. But I still do say, and even the kids going out now, I know it's different, I'm not saying it's not the same, but some of these young, like 20-year-olds who are going to their first festivals, they're having a fucking time of their lives, and it's very special to them. Just like it was special in the 05.
Festivals weren't really a thing when I was a bit younger, mate, you know what I mean? So they're living in a bit of a different generation,
different.
aren't they? Yeah.
It's just different, but it's still special for them in different ways.
Yeah, it's evolved, hasn't it?
Of course it has.
Yeah.
Of course it has. But, you know, some of them years, as I said, like in the States, 92 to 95, and even the 051, 96, I was taking ease, but then cocaine came into play then.
Yeah.
And that's when it changed for me.
So, let's pull it back to like, what age was it? You said you started your DJing, mate. Like you actually started
When I was
in the
20.
clubs. And
21.
then is that when really did you get heavier on drugs with the DJing?
Not really down to the DJing. No, I didn't have anywhere to play me music for 2 or 3 years. I was just buying vinyl and DJing in the house. Like lots of these young kids now will just have the decks in their house. That's all I was doing. Until like 92, 3 when Davey T, who was the DJ at the State, me and Dave started chatting, and Davey gave me an opportunity to start playing in the State.
Yeah. And then did you very quickly realise?
I just got a really good following quite quickly.
And is it a part of the DJing scene, Lee? Do you think, like, sometimes the drugs, you know what I mean, did that come hand in hand with it, do you think, or was that just a choice?
I mean, that scene at that point, though, Paul, was like heavily. You'd be lying if you said there was many in there that were just drinking water. Yeah. There is now. There's a new revolution of like it's not uncool now to not drink and take drugs. Yeah. It's very cool to not do them things now. But back then, it was the whole scene was just was just
It was
run by
fucking brand new, so it was just like...
It was just, and even like right through the state in the 051 and all them places, it was still ecstasy and cocaine. And once I started taking cocaine, things changed. Things changed, you know. The social side of ecstasy and the partying side of it in the music, for me, it's not like that with cocaine.
No,
cocaine's
it's
a very
different.
quiet, lonely, weird, wired, schizophrenic.
Yeah, it's a very strange drug, isn't it?
Yeah, and especially when your use becomes abuse.
Yeah.
And then it becomes an addiction where it's causing you an incredible amount of pain. It's taking all the things you love off you.
Yeah.
But you can't stop.
Yeah.
And even though you know, I fucking don't want to do this no more. This is fucking, I'm not going to work. I'm losing my job. My missus is going to kick me out. I'm not there for my kids. I'm fucking losing money. I'm not going to work. But then the weekend comes and I'm doing it again.
You're getting it. Yeah.
I'm doing it again. And that's what addiction is. It's knowing that you desperately want to stop, but you can't. That's such a painful, frustrating place to be, that, because your heart and soul wants to stop, but you can't. You can't, and you're losing more and more and more.
Yeah.
And
you're just deteriorating with it, mate.
Yeah. And what comes with that is lots, you know, all the obvious things you lose, and then your mental health, it's all over the place, and the fact that you can't stop is such a painful, frustrating hamster wheel. Which is, and I was in and out of recovery for a long time. Like, tried, you know, I met me missus, had me kids, and the thing is, when you're going out partying, taking ease, you've got not many responsibilities. Like I didn't have in 91, 92, 3, 4, 5. I wasn't with me missus.
So 96, is that when you?
Yeah,
when you
and I had my eldest lad and then my daughter and then my son, my youngest son, and then.
And what was that like for you? Like being introduced to fatherhood at such a young age as well.
I wasn't that young then. No, I was like.
What, you're 24? Was you?
Yeah, 24, 25.
24, yeah. Sorry,
yeah.
So
I've been with my wife 28 years.
Yeah.
So I lose track anything in the 90s and noughties. The only thing I can remember is where I was DJing. I watch things on the telly, go, here we are in 1996, and I go, yeah, I was in the 051 then.
Did you lose track of that, like, do you lose track of them times, like when you become a dad and stuff like that? Is
a little bit, yeah.
Bit of a blur.
It is a little bit. But what I was trying to say is, when you've got not many responsibilities, I didn't have as many things to lose. So I was just like going out, partying, DJing, using, drinking, taking ecstasy, starting to use cocaine. I didn't have to be in work Monday.
It's an excuse not to, isn't it? Sometimes.
Yeah, so like, but once I met my missus and then I had the kids, I had responsibilities, but I couldn't change.
Yeah.
I couldn't stop doing. My addiction had control of me. And like, what I went through with my addiction and my relationship was like, you know, if I was my wife, or if I was going out with me, I don't think I would have put it with the way I was. Do you know, like, I was going out, I was just not going home. And that was what was breaking the relationship. I say to people who were in our recovery group with me, Marcus and Wall, and our Break Free program, I say to people, it's not so much the drug use that was breaking my relationship. It was the lies. Smashing the trust a bit.
Sometimes you're not actually, you know, you're not coming home, Lee, but obviously your bird's gonna distrust you, then thinking that you're up to all kinds. But for me, it was, you're in a fucking kitchen with your mates.
Listen, honestly,
you know what I mean?
And that's literally what it was like.
Yeah.
It was just like endless days of drug use. Like, I'd go to work on a Saturday and my wife would say, please don't stay out tonight, just come home. And I'd have all like the intentions of not doing it. But when your addiction has more of the rope than you in the tug of war, you've only got a little bit of the rope, and your addiction's got most of the rope. So when you're trying with that little bit of rope to go, no, not tonight, you get to work or you get out or you're in the pub or you're driving home from work, if people aren't in my industry and they're just coming home from work on a Friday and it's payday and the sun's out and the match is on the next day, their addiction starts going, why don't you just fucking... And then all of a sudden, you haven't got hardly any of the rope, so it has you off.
Yeah.
And so then I'd go to work and then I'd end up being off my key, eat up, or coked up, or both. It gets to 2-3 o'clock and I go, I'm not going home now, fucking hell. So we'll go somewhere else. I'll go to like an all-nighter or somewhere till 6 or 7. Then at that point, it's like, I'm going to get fucked now. Go home. I can't go home now. Too scared.
Stay out.
I'm staying out. And it'd be Monday. And like, I can still remember like going, oh my God, what am I going to do? And I'm going home and like having absolute wars with my wife. Wars. Like, because when your addiction's running a show, you're very selfish. Like, I'd go home and she'd be out the top window and going, and I'd just say, open the fucking door. Like I'd done nothing wrong.
Yeah.
Just open the door. Fucking hell, come on.
Yeah.
She'd be going, you fucking horrible bastard, go back to where you've been, and all the normal stuff you deserve and more. But then, like, there'd be murder and the kids would be coming down and crying and like, I'd be screaming and shouting and like arguing and fighting in the hall and like be going, crying their eyes out, and I'd go, oh, fuck, and then I'd go back out and I'd get back on it again on a Monday and Tuesday, and your life was just a shambles. And like, now I've always got the ability to put the shoe on the other foot. I'm so rational now, and that's what my recovery's brought me. It's brought me the ability to just stop and go, hang on. Yeah,
you're aware now, aren't you?
Oh, massively.
Yeah,
and like, and I look back and think,
that, isn't it?
And think, my God, like, imagine if your wife went out on Saturday and come home Monday afternoon and went, she's open the door. It's up at you. When you've been in me, mates, your battery went, you just go, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You kill them.
Yeah.
And I did that. Like, it was just, how we stayed together, I don't know, but we just loved the bones of each other.
Well, I can certainly relate to you, mate.
And
so many
we're
ways.
happier now than we've ever been.
Yeah.
But we had to fight, and she, fought to keep
the strength they've got though, mate, to keep like the family unit together, you know what I mean?
And you see, I was never, like, even though I took drugs, I was never violent, never, it's just not near who I am. I'm a gentle soul, do you know what I mean? Dead, thoughtful, loving, considerate, like I'd do anything for anyone. But that's the real me now. I've always been that person, but when your addiction's running you, your behaviour doesn't...
What do you think was driving that, Oli? What do you think was driving that behaviour? Do you think it was just like it become a habit, or do you think was there anything ever, like, have you ever inquired as to was something driving it, you know what I mean? Or
I don't know. When I watch and people are coming to our recovery group, there's just very different types of people have very different concepts about addiction. Yeah. Like my thoughts on addiction are this, and recovery is, it doesn't matter what form of recovery you take, whether you're going into the 12 steps and you're in the fellowship and they say addiction is a disease and you have to surrender to a higher spirit and you have to take one day at a time and you're always an addict. That's the 12 steps. Whether you're in doing rational recovery like me, where addiction isn't a disease, it's something that you develop, a bad addiction. I didn't just get a disease in 1989. But this is just my opinion. I'm not saying I'm right, but this is what I believe in through experience, through me and through people I'm helping. There isn't just one way to recover. Yeah. And that's one thing I'm really passionate about, is saying, don't get precious about your form of recovery. Yeah. Do you know, just because I don't think addiction is a disease. For me, I sat in the 12-step meetings, and for me, personally, I couldn't find my higher spirit. I was like, lots were talking about God, and it just didn't connect with me. I didn't want to think I was an addict for life. Every day I had to wake up and take one day at a time. It felt like a life sentence to me. I didn't want to surrender and be powerless I wanted to understand and take back control.
Yeah, take accountability.
Yeah,
for your
yeah,
actions.
and I didn't want to. I didn't buy into the whole disease. I was like, what? So you're telling me in 1989, 1990, when I started taking drugs, I just got this disease because I took a drug? That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah. No, I'm fully with you on that, mate.
So for me, I developed an addiction. That's what my addiction is. I developed it. In 89, 90, I started taking drugs. Ecstasy, trips, acid, speed, cocaine. It progressed till my use became abuse, and I developed a really bad addiction. Now, I am passionate that I am living proof that you can undevelop that addiction. You can understand it, and you can change and build such an amazing new life that you don't have to live your life in fear of using again.
Yeah.
I never hear from my addiction no more, Paul. Never. But lots of people who do the 12 steps or the fellowship, they get a bit precious about, no, you can't commit to never again. Like I say, part of the AVRT that I did, Addictive Voice Recognition Technique, is all about understanding that there's two parts of you that are at war. Like, people come to me, reach out to me saying, I'm arguing with myself all weekend. I'm craving, I'm rattling, I'm itching. Now, in my group on Thursday, someone said, I've been fucking craving all weekend. And I went, so have I. He went, what? Have you? I went, yeah. I said, I was driving home from work and all I could think about was fucking crunchy nut cornies. I said, and I got home and I made them. I said, but the difference is, I said, you're not craving cocaine. You're not. I said, that's what this technique's all about. Understanding. You crave things you like that are good for you. By thinking you're craving, you think you're arguing with yourself. So when this battle's going on and you desperately want to stop, because I say, what you want and what your addiction wants are two different things. You want a happy, healthy, loving, thoughtful family life, creative, ambitious, fit, strong, like healthy, mental health, great, loving relationship. Your addiction just wants drinks and drugs and will take all that off you. You're not your addiction. It's party that's developed. And I said to this lad, I said, I don't get home and make a bowl of crunchy nut cornies and then have an argument with them. I'm going to eat them for fucking 20 minutes. Go on, eat them. Oh, no. Oh, don't eat them, fucking hell. You know what'll happen if you eat them. Go on, just eat half of them. Eat half then and fucking put the rest back in the fridge. I don't, or if I'm thirsty, I don't get a bottle of water and go, fucking hell, what happened if I drink that? Fucking hell, go ahead, drink it. No, don't drink that water, fucking hell. I drink it because I fucking want it. I'm craving it because I'm thirsty. Yeah. I'm craving them because I'm hungry. There's no battle, there's no arguments. So you're not craving cocaine, your addiction is.
Yeah.
And having that ability to separate yourself from it and recognise it was fucking groundbreaking for me, Paul. Like the book AVRT.
Sort of dissociating from it, is it? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
it's not just a random technique that he's thrown. And I took a lot from the book and I made it my own and created this course with my partners.
Yeah.
This AVA course, Addictive Voice Awareness, enabling you to separate yourself from your addiction, because once you have the ability to recognise it, how can you beat something if you can't recognise your opponent? You know, it's like going into a boxing match with the Invisible Man. You fucking got no chance. Once I started learning to recognise my addiction and understand that this addiction is developed in my primitive part of my brain, the survival part of my brain thinks it needs drinking drugs. That's talking to my neocortex. My neocortex is my right inner voice. It's what's got my back. It's the rational me.
Yeah.
These two are fucking arguing with each other. Like, and it not only does the book give you the full breakdown of why, what's going on, where your addiction sits. Like, your right inner voice is what's arguing with your addiction. And I say that, and let me explain it to you. It's bank holiday weekend, you're driving home from work, you've developed a bad addiction, and the sun's out, and the match is on Saturday afternoon. But you're fucking 3 weeks into your recovery and you know you desperately want to stop your missus, like you're doing dead well, you know, and you're fucking really fighting to get your life back. But it's 5 o'clock and you're driving home and your addiction goes, I'll tell you what, you're having half fucking done well. 3 weeks now, you've had a great week in work. Why don't you just fucking have a couple tomorrow? Your missus is going to caravan with the kids. She's not back till Sunday. Match is on at 5 o'clock. I mean, if you start early, about 4, by the time 10 o'clock comes, you can go to bed. Just don't go mad. Don't do what you keep doing all that time. Fucking sitting up all night and going missing. That's what was causing all the arguments. I mean, your bear fucking thinks you're doing great now. And you took the kids out Wednesday. She's not here. She's fucking, go and have a little go. That is your addiction talking to you. When you answer it with, no, fucking, you know what'll happen? I fucking end up sitting up all night. I end up paranoid looking out the window after fucking an hour, thinking, oh my God, she's coming home, she's getting off early, she's coming back from the caravan, it's this her. And then the next day I'll be going, fucking hell, what? And I'll sit up all night. I know I will. Nah, you won't, you know, just fucking be, you can calm. You've showed you can do it. It's 3 weeks now. No. This argument is not you arguing with yourself. You're arguing with your addiction. And when I learn to recognise it, fucking like a light bulb moment, and I'm seeing it in the people in my recovery program. Like me, Marcus and Wal and the team, seeing it connect with people are like, oh my God, I have that.
It's like a trigger, isn't it?
I have. Yeah, see, and all a trigger is. Yeah. See, these words like craving, I'm itching, I'm climbing the walls that people use when they reach out to me. I'm climbing the walls every weekend, like fucking itching, I'm itching and fucking craving. I say, no, you're not. You're just arguing with your addiction. Because that's all that's going on to create them feelings. Yeah. Is, go ahead, do it. No, don't fucking, you know what'll happen. No, she'll kill you. Fucking do it. Go ahead, just don't go mad. Well, you go in there, she won't know by the time you get home. No, don't fucking know. Just arguing with your addiction. Once I had that ability to recognise it, fucking hell, I had at least that last I had an opponent to go, I can get on this. Because all your addiction can do is 3 things. It can talk to you. But the thing is, it's part of you. Your addiction's part of it. It's not the real you, though. So it's got access to your voice. You're hearing yourself. That's why people go, I'm arguing with myself. Because it's not as if it's going to use a fucking St. Helens accent. If it did, it'd be fucking a lot easier, wouldn't it? Hey, fucking hell, tell you what, it's bank holiday, the sun's out, fucking matches on tomorrow, your birds go on the fucking caravan. Why don't you have a little fucking bash? You go, there's the swat. But it's not. It's got access to your voice. Yeah. So you're hearing yourself. And so it sounds, it does to me. It doesn't sound complicated. Yeah. Lots of people who will watch this will go, fucking hell, yeah.
I get it.
Yeah. And that's what happened with me. I was like, oh my God.
I get it, mate, so much.
And all your addiction can do is talk to you. If you think of your addiction, you make that decision to stop and you go for the big plan, not the one day at a time. When I tried one day at a time, that meant, all right, well, you're committing to not today. I'll come and talk to you tomorrow. And so I was on this endless cycle of white knuckling it. And white knuckling it's not, there's no enjoyment in it. You're over the fucking button all the time. So in the end, it's like, what your addiction wants you to do is go, oh, this is horrible, this. I feel these feelings are so intense. Fuck it. It'll get rid of this feeling of the desire to use and the fucking battle that's going on.
And that's driven from like, we spoke about it when we met up, didn't we? It's like it's sort of driven from like the pain pleasure cycle, which is like what your amygdala part of your brain is. You're seeking or avoiding, aren't you, all the time?
Yeah, and all it is your amygdala there is the primitive part of your brain. Is just your addiction is just developed in there. Yeah. So it all it wants is drinking drugs. It doesn't give a fuck about nothing else because it will take your kids off you. It will take your job off you. It'll take your life off you. As long as it can continue to use drinking drugs. Some of the stuff I did when I was fucking drinking and using, Paul, I would never in a million years do as the real me. That's why I say, you're not your addiction. I would never.
It's not you, is it?
I would never. People struggle with that concept and go, well, of course it's you. It's you being run by your addiction. And like some of the things...
Which is you're being run by the primitive part of your brain, really, aren't you?
And not your neocortex. Yeah. Like your neocortex is you write in a voice. The one that's arguing with your addiction, no, don't. Like if someone pulls a gun, you write in a voice. It'll never give you bad advice. It'll never go. If someone pulls a gun, it'll go, fucking hell, go over there.
Well, yeah, it'll react, won't it?
Yeah, it won't go, I'll go and see what gun he's got. Or if you're with your kids and there's fucking at the edge of a cliff, your writing a voice will go, fucking watch out. Yeah. Get them over here. That's the part of the real you that you need to fucking find again to get stronger.
Strengthen your connection with that.
That's why I say when some recovery groups or the 12 steps, which I've got nothing against, by the way. I've got my fucking one of my best friends, Robbie, is 8 years clean through the steps, actively in the fellowship. It's saved his life. I'm just saying, it's not one fucking size fits all. It's okay. Take some of the stuff from the steps if you want it. Take some stuff from AVRT. Take some stuff from Rational Recovery. Take some stuff from Sharp Recovery. Take some stuff from Intuitive Thinking Skills, which is another fucking form of recovery, and put them in your toolbox, the stuff that works for you.
Exactly.
If you don't want to surrender, well, don't take that bit out of the steps. But for me, when the 12 steps said you're powerless over your addiction, you're not. Yeah. It's just that.
I disagree with that to an extent, mate. That you're powerless. You know what I mean? I don't believe you're.
I'm proof
you've absolutely got a choice, and it's proven scientifically that you can build new habits, neuroplasticity, you know what I mean? I'm no expert, but, you know, you can rewire your brain.
But what I'm saying is I'm living proof that I was fucking drinking and using for 4 days in a row every week, and my life was a shambles. I couldn't stop, even though I was losing everything around me. I'm in my mum's. I'm still drinking in my mum's fucking bathroom, swigging brandy and snorting cocaine. I can't see my kids. I can't take them to school. My missus has kicked me out. And I can't stop, but I know that I'm losing all this because the primitive part of my brain is just driving. It's got all the power at that point. It's got all the rope.
Yeah.
But once you start fighting back, and I learned to recognise my addiction, I started winning them wars. All it can do is talk. It can talk to you. Go on, get a couple. And what it generates with that is feelings. Yeah. It's got access to your feelings. So as it's saying, the lads are out all Saturday. You've done well. It's 3 weeks now. The match is on. Why don't you just go and have a fucking couple of shandies? Oh, it'll generate the desire, the feeling of, oh yeah, oh. And it'll also show you images. So them 3 things is all it can do. If you think of it this way, once you fight back and you lock your beast in its cage, I call it the beast, that's just your addiction. You lock that animal from the fucking primitive part of your brain, your amygdala, you lock it in the cage and you lock the door. Think of it that way, you've got the separation now. It's in its cage, and what it will do is shout and ask, go on, fucking hell, you've done well. The match is on, fight's on 2 o'clock in the morning, bed's not in, fucking, why don't you do a bit of this and that? Yeah. Oh, offering you deals. Right, and it'll generate with that voice, mate. With that, you will get exciting feelings of desire to use and drink. Go on. And what you'll get with that is seeing yourself. Go on, all the lads are outside. Yeah, we're going to beer garden, and put together. That's where these cravings that people talk about, itchings and rattlings, go on. But it's not. It's just you having an argument with your addiction. But if you've got it locked in the cage, it can't get out. You know, it has no access to your arms and legs. It can't walk the shop for you and go to the offie. It can't ring the dealer. It can't go to the cash machine and get money out for you. It's got to use them 3 things to trick you into believing it's a good idea to do it. Do you get me?
Yeah.
It can't walk. It's a paraplegic. It's got no arms and legs. It's just got access to your thoughts, your feelings, and your voice box. And that's all it can do. If it blags you enough and you interact with it for long enough, it will show you more and more of the fucking great footage.
That you're getting more pleasure from doing it.
And in the end, you think it's you. That's its sole goal, is to convince you it's you. So in the end, you go, you know what, I will just go and fucking watch the first half. I'm not going to fucking go mad. I'll just have a couple of shandies. I'll get off at half time. And then it's tricked you. Yeah. Then you believe what it's saying, so you go to the pub. Yeah. It's tricked you with them 3 things. And people listening might go, that sounds dead complicated, but it's fucking not. It's separate. It's in its cage. It can't get out unless you believe everything it says and then you go and open the door. Thing is, though, when it comes out and you've locked it up for a month or 6 months or 3 weeks or 4.5 years like me, right? When you let it out, it will only say, well, let me just have a little go. Don't go mad. You've learned. Stop staying up all night. Do it once a month. Why don't you just cut back? Just have a little go. Have a couple of drinks. Don't have a line. That was making you weird and fucking go scatty. Just have a bevy. We'd be home for 10. Thinking when you open the door, it's an animal. It's not just going to tiptoe out and go, wait, it's just a couple of pints, is it? And then I'll go back up and I'll let you lock me up. It goes, you fucking blurt.
Yeah, got you.
I'm not going back in there. Yeah. I'm going fucking not. And it's hard to get it back in. I went 6 months, 3 months, 9 months, 14 months without drinking and using drugs and got tricked. Always through drinking again. Like, in the end, I made the commitment to never drinking again, as well as never using drugs. And when I did that, it all got so much easier, because every time I started drinking, my addiction would put the drink in front of the coke and wouldn't talk to me about cocaine. It'd just say, you'd be all right to have a drink now. Have a drink with your missus. This is when I was 14 months without drinking and using. It was going, just have a bevy with your missus, you're boring now. See missus, you're having a drink. Wait, what about when you used to play, remember the mad nights with your missus where you'd get here bevy and walk and all that, and it'd start throwing all the fucking sexy images at me then as well. And so I'm looking at this deal the beast's offering me then from the cage, going, oh yeah, me and my bed in Chester in a hotel, and I'm interacting with it far too much. The thing is, when you get good at this, you think of your addiction in the cage as having a million-piece jigsaw, and it's got access to this amazing fucking picture it can put together for you. So it's clever. In the end, it won't just put, it's Friday, it's 5 o'clock, go and get an eighth. You'll go, fuck off, I'm onto you. Too obvious when you get good at this and you get some clean time under your belt. It will move, it'll go. Driving home from work, sun's out. It'll go, sun's out. That's all it'll put in. And it's not soft, it'll put facts in to start. Sun's out. Bank holiday, not in work till Tuesday. Mrs. is out with her mates tomorrow. 3 pieces that are all true. But when you get to know your addiction well enough, I could recognise it going, yet the sun is out, the match is on, and my bird is going out, but I know the rest of the fucking piece you're putting in here.
Yeah.
And I got amazingly good at it. So every time I put one piece in, but when you are learning, the 4th piece will be, done well in work this week. Matches on, sun's out, bird's out. You've done well, you've worked hard. Fucking hell, bird's fucking back in the big bed as well. She thinks you're great. And all of a sudden, it's put all these pieces in, and then it'll just drop in the corner. Be nice to have a little bevy, wouldn't it, as well? And by that time, you're just gawping at this fucking amazing dream of a scenario which paints to you. Like, oh yeah, that looks good. And the art of this program, what we do is we learn you to recognise your addiction when it's generating them feelings and thoughts and voices. And when you get good at it, it's actually really empowering. Yeah. Because you're like, I've spotted it again.
Can you come to laugh at the voice sometimes?
Yeah.
Do you think like you can be like I like to think of it like you can befriend it, you know what I mean? Sort of befriend your addiction, well, like, or can you? Because you're sort of saying the beast.
So the way our program works, we have very different ways of going about it. Like lots of people, when they come to us, and lots of people I'm seeing online and I'm helping online and on my Twitter and stuff like that, they talk about the guilt of all the things that they've done whilst their addiction was running them. And I've done some terrible ones. I've fought and argued in front of the kids. I've rolled around in the fucking hall with me missus. I've fucking kids have been crying on the stairs. They've got, Dad, I want to come with you. I've walked the streets in the rain with them. I've fucking lashed them in my Mars and gone back out and fucking got more gear and stayed out for days. My missus are like, and this is, the thing is, I can actively talk about all this with no guilt. And that might sound surprising to some people, but we do it differently. The reason I can talk about all this stuff I did is that I can remember swearing on my kids' lives, Paul, and like, I'm not proud of this, but I will not let my addiction beat me up over what it did to me. I won't, because I did that for too long and it led me to relapsing. If I lived in that guilt of fucking hell, I've eaten a date, I can't believe it, and fucking I haven't seen my kids for fucking weeks, and it wants to put you in that place where you go, oh, fucking, I'm having a drink. No. Like, I've been on my lassies with me missus, and she said, you dare? I fucking swear to you, I've gone to work used, come home with gear on me. And I've got in, she's gone, let's have a look at you. She went, have you been at it again? I've gone, I swear to you, love, I fucking haven't. I haven't. I'm lying. And she's gone, swear on your kids' lives. And I've gone, I swear. She's gone, no, go on. Swear on them and name them. And I've gone, I swear on Cameron, Drew and Taylor's life. I fucking haven't. And it's in my pocket, Paul. Now, there'll be people watching this who have got an addiction who go, and I've done that. The thing is, I will not let my addiction use that against me. I use it against it to make me stronger. And when people come into our program, we make them make a list of evidence. We call it a list of evidence. We make them go away and write down all the things their addiction has done to them, has made them lose, all the things. And it's a painful process. But you can't avoid it. Because if you do and you don't deal with it, right, and you use it the wrong way, all that guilt will make you endlessly relapse. So we say, you don't use all the things your addiction did to you. Relationships you've lost, kids you've lost, jobs you've lost, the mental health, suicide attempts, stealing, robbing, going to prison. All of it, making you paranoid, sit there thinking the police are in your garden, sitting on the stairs with a hammer. I've done it all. Fucking sitting there with the telly on mute, looking out the window for 4 days in a row, twitching, having palpitations, having to go to the Aussie, blowing into a bag in the Aussie because I can't get my breath. Then them saying to me, have you taken drugs? I'm going, yeah. And then they've sent me home. And as soon as my heart rate comes down, I'm snorting cocaine again. I fucking put it all down. And you know, in them moments when I started to recognise my addiction, your addiction will never mention none of that. It's a salesman, Paul. It's got to sell you the dream. Your addiction's not going to go, I tell you what, you've done well 3 weeks now. Why don't you have a line? And you go paranoid and weird and you'll end up having palpitations and we won't be able to get a kip. You feel like the bed's vibrating and you think you're going to have a heart attack. Then you'll go down and use again and you'll be sitting outside thinking the police are in your garden. Why don't you do that this week? When's your addiction ever said that? Never. It will paint you the dream. So how do you deal with a beast attack, which is what we call them, or like a heavy fucking attack from your addiction? What do you do? What tools do you use? Well, you use your list to prove it. It's your evidence. Nah, look at all this you done to me. This is where you're gonna always take me. Here. You're showing me this. Don't go mad, just sit up. Remember the lads, we'll go in there, the girls, we've got a boo there, yeah, fucking have you yet? Oh. Your addiction will only ever show you the opening scene. Yeah. The exciting bit. Getting it. Oh, yeah, we're getting it. The lads are out. Oh, yeah, the girls are all going. Seeing it for ages. Oh, yes, fucking hell. Is he here? Yeah, how are you here? Where are you? 5 minutes away. Are you? Yeah. He's nearly here. Excitement. Knocking on the door. There he is. I've got it. Yeah. As soon as I had a couple of lines, I was fucking paranoid.
Yeah, and you're on a downer straight away.
Yeah, and I'm fucking off. Yeah. If I was around people, I'm getting off. If I'm in the pub and I have a line, I'm going home on my own to get more. So when it says to you, you're going to be a boring cunt if you stop, you'll be antisocial. I looked at my list and went, that's boring. There's me sitting on my own in the house for 4 days. That's boring. What's my social life when I'm using drugs? Fucking hell. I don't want to be anywhere. I don't want to be around anyone. I'm a weirdo. Yeah. So it's your proof. It's your answers. Yeah. But it also helps you deal with it. Yeah. But in a different way of going, look what you fucking done to me. And you always will. Yeah. Doesn't change when you've got an addiction, Paul. There's no moderator. There's no...
I like to... I delve into, a lot of the trauma side of things, like we spoke about.
I was going to say to you, we have people coming to us with trauma, and that's a different thing. Some people's addictions are led from serious loss or abuse, and they turn to drinking drugs. I'm lucky in that sense that I don't feel mine was like that. I was swept away by the scene, and but there are people, and I think that's a little bit different. We have like Wall is our partner on that. He's our life coach. Okay, he's the expert on that. It's not mine. It's more yours.
Well, there's a doctor, which I mentioned to you when we had a chat, called Gabor Mate. Now, he's basically an addiction expert, but he comes at it like similar angle, but trauma angle, basically saying when you're addicted, you're seeking something, but it's because of the pain. It's why the addiction. So it's not the addiction's the problem, it's why the addiction. And he'll go even deeper to like, to the root. Okay, so he'll go like right back into childhood, and then where did you feel that feeling? Where did that come from? Where did that come from? And why did you feel like that? And basically he's come up with a methodology as to addiction comes from a pain that we're seeking to escape.
Yeah, and so I go back to my statement earlier of there's no one size fits all. For some, yeah. For quite a few, yeah. But there's generations just like me, which is why when I opened up 4 years ago, so publicly across my socials, so many reached out. This is why we had to set up this Break Free program to help people with a 12-week program, which gets you 24-hour WhatsApp support. Yeah. This program we're running is like no recovery service I've ever been in. The level of support and knowledge is phenomenal because I know that's what I needed. Yeah. And everything I learned, and Marcus learned, my partner, and Wal, the life coach, we give you in intense support, but fun as well. Yeah. And we have like everyone who's with us, there's 80 and 90 with us now at the moment doing this 12-week program. They get a 24-hour WhatsApp group. And that WhatsApp group is there for them to voice it when they hear their addiction talking to them. Because if you sit with them thoughts for long enough, like any salesman, if you sit talking to a salesman for long enough, he'll sell you it.
It'll get stronger, won't it?
Yeah. And you'll start believing it.
Yeah.
So the WhatsApp groups are there for you to shine your halogen light on the thief creeping up your path. If you get to Friday and you hear it, go, fucking hell, you know what? You've done well for the couple of weeks. Why don't you have a little fucking bevy tonight? And you've got no one to tell or talk to who understands, who can give you the tools. We're just the halogen light for them to go, bang, this is what it's saying. And you wouldn't believe the freedom that comes with that. But you're right, some people turn to deal with the pain. Yeah. But there's generations that just were like me or were just got caught up in going out.
You just think basically you've went out one time, you've took a tablet.
Took half a tablet, you loved it, you had the night of your life, so you took it the next week, then someone said, you want a line? You went, yeah. And then all of a sudden, you're fucking using drugs. Then your relationship's fucking falling apart and you can't stop. And that's... But there is a huge amount of people who are trying to deal with something or not deal with it. I've got to be honest with you, you would be better at understanding that side of it than me. Because we have Wal, who's in our group, who does that, and he has one-to-ones with them and everything. It's such an amazing programme. I'm dead proud of it. But
tell us more about the programme then, Lee. What does it, like, from start to finish? Did you say it's a 12-week programme?
It's 12 weeks, but that's not saying you're fixed in 12 weeks.
Yeah.
That's saying we will give you incredible knowledge. We've got poor people in our programme at 9 weeks now where we're just, the change in them is phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's so rewarding to see. And it's hard work and it's intense.
Yeah.
Can you imagine 2 WhatsApp groups with 40 people's addictions in? But we give them that support 24 hours a day. And we also have meetings of a Tuesday and Thursday for 2 hours. Group meetings. The group split into 2. Then we have a walk of a Saturday morning. And all this stuff and the learning and understanding and the ability they have to start recognising their addiction. All of a sudden, they're going, I'm hearing it. I can feel it. Guess what Mine's just said? And seeing them starting to recognise it is like, it's so fucking amazing for me, because I'm like, that's what I was like when I started, and this is how I felt when I could. Once you give someone that awareness of, like, there'll be people watching this, which is why I'm so
moment,
I'm so happy you asked me to come on and talk about it, because what I want us to deliver is hope for people to go, oh my God, I can recognise that voice. I thought it was me. It's my addiction. And when some of these people are taken to it like that, some at 12 weeks, you don't have to leave. That chair's yours. That place is yours. Now, we have staff working for us now. We're just about to move into our new office, which is in the secret warehouse in Bootle. Yeah. We've now finally got an office, so we'll be offering one-to-ones as well.
Brilliant.
And we'll have a base to work from, which we're so happy about. We've got our groups, our WhatsApp groups, our group meetings and our walks. We went bowling last week with them. We have a gym session of a Monday. When your addiction at the start of your recovery is saying you're going to be boring, you'll have no social life, I always have my list to go, well, let me check my list. How boring was I? I have got my life back now. My gigs are a million times better. I'm at them. I'm in the crowd. I couldn't look up at my gigs, Paul, when I was playing. I'd be sitting outside, paranoid, having palpitations, having been up all night, snorting cocaine and drinking fucking straight vodka, sitting outside the gig going, I don't know I'm going to go in there and face these. I don't know what I'm going to do. And I'd go in with my head down, twitching, paranoid, play me set, shite, get off, go home, carry on. Now, it can't trick me no more. Yeah. It can't convince me. It can't show me the start of the film anymore. I used the tools to keep going to the end. And all your list is the end of the film. That's why what we're trying to teach people long term is because you can't live your life avoiding drinking drugs. Yeah. Like,
it's part of society.
Yeah, you talked about triggers earlier. Yeah. For me, all a trigger is, we say to people in our programme, think of your addiction. Mine is 26 years. Think of that 26 years worth of using memories, where, when, who we used with, all on this massive hard drive. Fucking everything's on there. If I had to live my life avoiding them triggers, I've used at the match, at a restaurant, at home, with me mates, in a funeral, everywhere. Yeah. I've used everywhere.
There's no shame in it. Like, when you're doing it, you're like,
anyone who's watching this will go. Yeah. It's everyone. People drink and use everywhere now.
Everywhere, mate.
Right.
Yeah.
So if I was to live my life avoiding everything on my addiction's hard drive, I'd have no life. That's why our program's totally different. We're like, at the start, your addiction will look at all its footage it's got of you and go, you're going to be a boring cunt. You won't be able to do none of that anymore. And it's just throwing all your using memories at you, going the match, the footy, the pub, restaurants, meals, nights out, festivals, clubs. Oh, fucking hell. And that's where you're going to be a boring cunt. You'll have no social life. That's your addiction talking to you, throwing that at you. Once you get your life back and you start getting the rewards, fitter, stronger, healthier, more loving, more reliable, your missus says, you know what, I've got my husband back. Your kids are dead close to you. Your work gets better. You're wealthier, you're healthier, you're more creative. And all this is in your new box.
You're empowering all areas of your life, aren't you?
Yeah, you're getting the real you back. So when you get them rewards are fucking vital, because that's when the shift of power comes. At the start, you are feeling powerless because your addiction's running the show. Yeah. But when you do this, and you learn to recognise, win, beat the battles, use the tools. When at 6 months your addiction does try, it's so much easier. Yeah. There's no battle there. You go, there it is. Saying, just have a little go. Don't go mad, you deserve it. I don't deserve what you're going to give me, because there's my list. Go on, you deserve a little go. Do I? Do I deserve that? Do a fuck. Look at all this I've got. the shift of power comes and you're not powerless anymore. You hold the power. But it's a process.
Yeah.
And we learn people. That's why that list, lots hate making it, Paul. Lots don't want to look at it. The list of evidence of everything their addiction did to them, took off them, made them feel. It's fucking painful.
Yeah.
It is. Mine is. But I'll talk about mine non-stop. I'm proud to say I'll never live there again. Never. Never. And my addiction, wherever it is now, can hear me right now. And it's going, I've got no chance of ever. The thing is, I can give our programs about never drinking or using drugs again, a lifetime guarantee. Never again. If I can't commit to never again, what am I committing to? Possibly. Maybe I will. My addiction goes, sound. I'll keep talking to you.
It's like when you say, I'm going to stand up, Lee. You say I'm going to stand up, or I'll try. You can't try to stand up. You either fucking stand up or you don't you?
And so that's the difference between what we say and what the 12 steps say.
Yeah.
You can only take one day at a time. You wake up every day an addict. We say, I'm committing to never ever using again because look at this fucking stuff it's causing me. I'm going to learn to recognise it, start winning, start filling my new box up. I'm going to take the power back. I'll get more of that rope back. I'll win these tug of wars until you've only got that much. And when you try, I've got it all. And I go, there you are, bang, no chance. But that shift of power takes time and takes trust in the process. But in the end, you get so many rewards that you're like, bloody hell, I'm never handing this back. Yeah. Ever.
I think just giving people, like, you know, I see it myself, mate, just giving people that space, like creating a bit of a space for people to fucking let it out and to talk about their addiction, to speak about where it's come from and what it's doing to their life, mate. That is so powerful, isn't it?
Unbelievably. And like, that's why I'm so passionate about it. And that's why when I see your page and I've been following your stuff and then you approached me for it, I was like, perfect person to go and talk about it to. To see the stuff you're doing around the men and mental health. And I see the people who come into our programme who've been the doctors and the doctors just prescribing them fucking antidepressants. And I'm like, please, give us 12 weeks. Yeah. Work with us, trust us, listen, learn, put 100% into this. And then assess your mental health. I said, because I know when I was drinking Friday all night, not sleeping, Saturday day, drinking, paranoid, lashing gear down the toilet because I'm paranoid thinking the police are outside, then drinking more vodka so I'm not paranoid, then ordering more, getting it, staying up all Saturday night, all Sunday afternoon, my bed flipping, kicking off on me, I'm lashing me, I'm in my mum's, I'm still drinking anything that's in my Mars, brandy, champagne, anything I can get my hands on, snorting in air toilets, I'm fucking hiding it, my life's a mess, I haven't gone to work. How's my mental health going to be any good? Yeah. When I do finally stop and I go, I've got a sleeping tablet there, I'll take that because I can't sleep. And I'm zonking myself on these fucking zoppies and I'm asleep and I wake up on Tuesday afternoon. Imagine what my mental health's like then. Imagine what these people who were drinking and using in that cycle. Imagine what their mental health's like when they're losing everything around them.
Well, I certainly know, mate, when I went to doctors, you know, straight away, they're prescribing you, like, they're giving you, like, Sertraline. Take 50 milligram of that, yeah, blah, blah, blah. You know, they're not telling you sometimes the side effects of having them, which can be low testosterone for a man, can affect your mood. You know, they're sort of numbing why the addiction's there, you know what I mean? Or they're numbing the pain. But sometimes you're still using, and you're having SSRIs, aren't you? You know what I mean?
And like, seeing these people change, not every time, I'm not saying I'm right every single time. You haven't got mental health issues. Some people have, some people have got bad trauma. It needs talking about, like what you say. You giving men that ability to just open up and be the real them. And just talk in a safe space, in a loving space. It's just like, I see it in the groups. They come out the group meetings we do, and they're like, oh my God, I feel so much different. When they come in the group, their addiction's going, don't go. Fucking hell. Don't go there.
Jimmy.
What if someone sees you? Oh, you know, like, oh my God, you don't need to go to that. You weren't that bad. Their addiction's trying to desperately stop them going to the one place they will get better. Because their addiction knows if they go there, I'm not going to get what I want anymore. And that's the separation we always have. We say at the start, whose addiction's been talking to them on the way? And everyone goes, mine was saying, fucking throw the COVID card in, say you've tested positive. That's not the real them saying that to them. It's their addiction, stopping them going to the one place that's going to get them the help they need. Yeah. But the ability to talk is like, I see what you do, and I'm like,
you're giving people a voice, mate. To just like,
because they're not sitting there with they're in their own battle.
And being
Whether it's
authentic though, Lee, as well, being them, you know what I mean? This is me. The first time you've probably done it, this is me, this is who I am, you know what I mean? And they're being held by the container you're creating for them, aren't they?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And the bond that they make, Lee, as well, like they're making mates like for life, you know what I mean?
And
They're making brothers and sisters for life.
It's like that because you know what, ours is almost becoming a community.
Yeah, it's like a community.
They all went bowling last week together.
Yeah.
All these people, and we sat in our group on Thursday, and me, Marcus, and while we were sitting there listening to them, and one of the lads went, you know what? We all went bowling. About 15 and 20 of them out the group all went bowling. He said, I've now got the ability to look back and reflect. And if when I was drinking and using, I went bowling, I would have only been there half an hour and I'd have gone off and gone home. He said, I had the best time. We laughed. I got home and my stomach was in pain from laughing all night. I would never have done that when I was drinking and using. I would have just ruined my night and gone home and used. He went, my addiction was saying to me at the start of this, you know, you won't be able to go out and have fun anymore. And like, they can see it for what it really is. All of a sudden, they're rationally going, I can see the fucking bullshit now.
Yeah.
Because I can talk about it.
Yeah, that's not where the magic is. Fucking, this is actually where it's at. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Being here now, being with your kids, getting up on a Sunday and going for a walk with your kids and being present, being that a dad. You know what I mean? It's like lights you up, doesn't it?
And they're the things when I talk about the box of joy and the box of pain. In that box of pain, you don't carry your list of evidence around with you like an open wound and go, oh God, look at all this shit I did. Too many do that.
Yeah.
Because they don't talk about it, get it out there, deal with it, open up. We use that. We say that list you've got of all that pain and carnage and evidence your addiction took to get, it's closed in a box. You've spoke about it, you've dealt with it. It's in there. The only time you open it up is when you hear your addiction offering you the bells and whistles. When it's saying, go on, don't go mad, you won't. Just go, hang on, look at this. But, as you say, it's so lovely to hear some people who are 2 or 3 weeks into their recovery go to me like, you know what, guess what we did? So, and you know what, mad Paul? These people at the start think it's weird.
Yeah.
They go, oh, it's weird, you know. Guess what we did Sunday? We got up and me and my 3 kids went and we all had brekkie together. And then we went to PACT. Fucking mad, that, innit? And I go, no. It's not, you know.
Fucking boss.
It's brilliant. And you're just getting normality back, but it feels so special. And these are all the things that start dripping in slowly round your ankles, all these rewards. And what happens then is your relationship gets better and you start doing things with your kids you never did. And your kids say to you, you know what, Dad, I'm made up. I've got your back. Imagine how that feels to you as a man, as a dad.
Well, I was going to touch on that, like, for me, certainly in my younger days, like my older lad, he's 15 now. But like the first 5 years of his life, mate, I remember like on a Christmas day, and he probably doesn't know this, hope he doesn't watch this, but on a Christmas day, mate, I ended up on it. I was living in my Bird's Mars at the time. I just lost my job. And I was going out at 1, 2, 3 in the morning, going to fucking buy Charlie, coming back, having it, going back out in a taxi and having it again. And I just sort of think like how that affected me as a father. And I feel a little bit like in my heart now, mate, you know what I mean, talking about it. Just in like how that affected me showing up as a man. And I always think if that affected him, do you ever have them type of thoughts yourself about how you've shown up as a father or as a man?
Yeah. But you know what I did, Paul? I dealt with it that way. I put everything on my list. Everything. My kids, when I was using like I was, would get up of a Sunday morning and me miss would say, don't go in the back room, my dad's in there, he's not well, he's on the couch. And I'm sitting there, paranoid, with the telly on mute, sitting like a weirdo, drinking and snorting coke. My kids can't come in the back room. Now, I did go through a long phase of like beating myself up about that. But in the end, once I learned to separate myself from my addiction, understand that I'm not my addiction, I would never in a million years do that if my addiction wasn't running me. So I dealt with all that. I speak to my kids about it. I'm so public on my socials. I talk like this. My kids can watch this. There's nothing on this they won't know. Nothing. That's how open
I feel like that's healing for them, Lee, as well, you know what I mean?
They love me even more.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, because they see what I'm doing and they see how passionate I am to help others and they see how much hope I want to give people and they see how they hear me on the phone. You know, like I'm having hour-long conversations with people at the start of the recovery in the house, in my own time, the time I've got at home. They hear me on the phone having this passionate, like, at the start of your recovery when your addiction's showing you the start of that film, right? We're teaching you with the tools. So in the end, just see the end. And at the end of the film is that list. So at the start, when you haven't got the ability, when it's showing you all the bells and whistles, you haven't got the ability and the tools at the start to use them to show at the end. So that's why we make them make the list. We say, when you recognise it, show it that, because there's the end. That's the end of the film. Use that, then ring us, and we'll sort you and get you through these battles, these arguments you're having. So now for me, I've walked into toilets in gigs and walked right into someone using cocaine. Like, I've been in the DJ box and people around me have been snorting cocaine. I've walked in and lads walked out with it round his nose. I've gone for the piss. There's been a big bag of it on the floor. No part of me now, nothing generates desire. I don't look at that and go, wonder what it'd be like to have one now, 4.5 years on. No one's in here. No one would see you. Go on, have a little go. It doesn't happen now because...
Did you ever say, remember, I used to do that, though? Anything like that ever come in?
No.
Like, I wouldn't do, but remember, I used to. Nothing, no memory, like, just like...
No, of course.
Yeah.
You'll always have memories of using.
Yeah.
But it can't use them to generate desire anymore or chat to me about it, because I have now used the tools so well and learned. It's ingrained in me. When I see that cocaine, I instantly see the end of the film. The truth, that's all I'm seeing. Is me sitting up for days, not fucking going to work. My relationship broke in my mum's, walking the streets with my kids in a pissing down rain, fucking like arguing, fighting with me missus, the kids sobbing on the stairs, sitting having palpitations, getting taken to Aussie because I can't breathe. That's what I see. Why shouldn't I see that? Because that's the truth where it would take me. I'm just...
I love that, mate.
It can't show me the start anymore. And that's what we're teaching these people, to see the end. But that's why at the start, we make them make that, because they haven't got the tools yet to be able to shift to the real place. So we say, in them moments, get your list out and fucking really read it and look through it and understand that that wasn't you, that was your addiction. It will always take you there when it's showing you that, and then ring us, put it in a WhatsApp group, let's all deal with it together. And shutting that down and winning them arguments gets you your rewards, and the more rewards you get, the stronger you get.
Yeah.
And in the end, the power shifts. You're not powerless. You take it back. I'm not powerless over my addiction. I haven't got a disease. That's my belief in it. I haven't got a disease called addiction. I'll never drink or use again, ever. I can give my missus and all my family a lifetime guarantee. They know, Paul. They haven't got to worry about me taking one day at a time, only being clean today because I'm an addict, and tomorrow I'll get through the next day. And so they're worried about whether I'm going to relapse. It's gone because I committed to never, ever again. If I can't commit to never again, I'm committing to possibly using, and that means my addiction will keep...
Any other drug, Lee, you would never use?
No.
Any across the board?
No,
that's it?
Nothing.
Do you feel like is there like a pain, or is there a purpose to your pain? Do you feel like your journey has led you to deliver this work to men? Because we mentioned it, didn't we?
And you'd open my eyes to this. It's a tough one for me to not to explain.
Yeah.
It's easy for me to explain. It's not as easy for me to understand as I'm saying it.
Yeah.
Because you've heard me talk about how we deal with all the things your addiction's done to you. We use that as a deterrent against it when it's talking to you, offering you this amazing bells and whistles, shiny glitter balls. This is going to be great. Yeah, go out, cop off, fucking. It's showing you all the, don't go mad, don't stay up all night. Just have a few. Your missus isn't in, she's not back till late. Go on.
Yeah.
Trying to trick you to use. And when you fall for that, you get that.
Yeah.
When you've got an addiction.
Yeah.
Like, that's the difference. You never get what it's offering. You get that. So I talk about all that evidence and shit over here. So then you say to me, well, is there some good that's come of that? And I, when you said it to me, it was really weird for me to think about, because this is what's come out of it, and this is good. Yeah. And I've never thought about it like that until you said it to me, and you opened my train of thought about... We use that as a deterrent against their addiction, because that's the only place it goes. But has that, what you opened my eyes to was, has all that, what my addiction put me through, made me into something better? Me gut answer would be yeah.
I think absolutely it has, mate.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've never thought about it like that until I had a coffee with you, and you made me tap into that train of thought.
If you look at what you're creating, the community you're creating, and the people that are actually in it, that will go on to create a community and have a ripple effect of what is going on, Lee, because of you, because of your addiction, has created that community, which has created another community.
There's people who've done our program now, who are now volunteers in our WhatsApp. Because you imagine, for us to control 40 people in each WhatsApp group, it's tough. So we have staff who are 3 years, 4 years using this technique to give advice, to help people when they reach out in the group and say, oh, I'm struggling here. This is what it's saying to me. They shine a light on the thief keeping up the path by voicing it in the group. We have now volunteers who are fucking giving back, having done what our course and helping others. It is, you're right. It's amazing. But I've never ever thought of it like that. And because I've always used all the pain and the shit and the evidence of what my addiction will always bring me as to empower me to never let it do that again. But if I look at it that way, has my recovery made me a better person? Fucking without a doubt. Definitely.
Because I sort of think, like, on my journey, I feel like, and you know, you might just think this is bullshit, you know, some people might, but I feel like sometimes, mate, like my father had to go through what he went through with mental health and addiction with alcoholism and, you know, severely suffering with mental illness and let down by the system, you know what I mean? But that has then led to me having my issues and then being able to deliver this work to men. So I sort of think that had to happen for this sort of diamond, if you like, to be born,
to shine,
like it's for PACT to be alive, you know what I mean? So you've had to sort of go through that painful process to reach that, you know what I mean, to deliver that work. So I feel like there's always, sometimes there's a, you know, there's a purpose in the pain, you know what I mean? Or that's how I try and identify with it, Lee, you know what I mean?
And until you said that to me, I would never ever have thought of it like that. And as I said to you, my gut instinct is to say, has there been a purpose and a positive out of the pain that I talk about on that list? You'd have to say yeah, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
But I've never thought of it like that. And it's a lovely way to deal with it, I suppose. And that is something I will take into our recovery programs. Because whilst I'm telling them all to make this, and I know it's painful, when they start getting the rewards, a lovely way of me drifting that into our recovery program would be, you can also use this list to be empowered to the person you're becoming because of this, what your addiction did to you.
Look where you're going.
There's a difference between addiction and recovery.
Yeah.
The recovery is what you're saying. Look what your recovery's brought you.
Yeah.
Because of that.
Yeah.
Do you know, I suppose that didn't bring me here.
Yeah.
But if without that, I wouldn't have got my recovery. So it did in a way.
Yeah.
So I like the spin you put on it, because it'd be a lovely way to send when these start getting the results saying, you know, look at what your recovery is bringing you. Because they find themselves, and I think you become a better person. I am I've always been thoughtful, loving, understanding, soft, gentle. I always have been. And it's just what my soul's like. But I am such a better person now. Because
you become who you really are, and then you begin to see opportunities that you never seen, you know what I mean?
But do you find with you though, you're a better person because of the learning that you've done as well?
I've had to
dive the understanding.
Deep, I've had to get an understanding, a deep learning, and I've had to know myself, to know the voice, my own voices, Lee. But you know, for me to stand here and say I don't get a voice, and like, you know, is mental health like the sort of, I've got a deep rooted core belief that I will suffer with mental health because my dad did, and then I know generations before them did. So that is sort of in me. That is in my genes. Now I know, like, through studying that, through epigenetics, which I'm no expert, but you know, it's your perception of your reality that turns on your genes. You know what I mean? So if you perceive I'm going to be addicted because my dad was addicted, you're turning on the addiction genes to be addicted because of your perception. You know what I mean? If you can change your perception, then it'll change your life.
1,000,000%.
You know what I mean?
1,000,000%.
But I still do I'm having to learn to become friends with that voice, and I do a lot of like inner child work, and I'll go deep into my upbringing, and the first 7 years of your life is like where your emotional body is formed. So, you know, the feeling body.
I've heard that.
So the first 7 years.
So while one of our partners talks about that a lot.
Yeah. So that's where that's formed. Like, so obviously that's your pleasure centre in your amygdala, and you know, if there's been any pain there and you're seeking to avoid, then that's when you were a baby. You know what I mean? Or you might be too young to explain your emotion.
See, I'm a massive fan of, like, I think of it this way. I always put a music analogy on it, right? All these people who have conflicting views on maybe what you're saying about genetically you get handed down. Your dad was addicted, so I'm going to be. So you're more likely to be, and you dealing with the pain and
which is a myth, by the way. Like, we're conditioned by, like, you know, Western medicine. If you like that's true. Which it's not necessarily true, because a newfound medicine is epigenetics. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
which is, like I say,
this is what I'm saying to you though. Like, if I think, like, people could listen to what you do and what you say and the passion you put into what you do, and there'll be some people that don't agree with some of the stuff you say. Like there is with stuff I say. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying this is what I truly believe in through experience and seeing results. Now, for a music analogy, it's like, all I'm saying is, with recovery, with mental health, with opening up, with talking, with understanding what's going on, with trauma, with anything, with addiction, all of it, I say, as long as the end result's the same, and you get well, you get yourself back, and the real you shines through again, and you're in a million times better place, and your life is shining again. Does it matter what tools you use to get there? No. So, like, if someone's making a piece of music and someone hands me a track, or you're listening to a piece of music, you were listening to a piece of music, and we go, that's fucking amazing, that. It's like me going, well, what software did you make it on? And them going, Cubase, and me going, that's fucking shit, that. I don't use Cubase, I use Ableton or Logic. It doesn't matter what software they use to make the music. If the music's amazing, even if they use the fucking computer at home on fucking Fruity Loops or a fucking shit program, doesn't matter. That's what matters. It's an amazing piece of music. I don't care how you made it. Do you know what I mean? I don't care what software you used, what type of piano you used, or whether the instruments are live, or don't give a fuck. It's lovely. I love it. And if that piece of music is them getting themselves back, take what you can out of everything.
Me and you might like that music, but someone else might hate it. You know what I mean? So we take our tools off who we
and if it gets you the end result, and you are shining again, and your life's fixed, and that's all that matters. Just support. The key's in the word support. Just support everyone. Whether you believe in their technique, their theory or not, if it's getting someone into a better place, stop battling about the theories behind it. Just like, support them.
Use the tools. And I think, like, you know, we're in the age of information, you know what I mean? There's so much stuff online that people can look at and find out, isn't it, about all these addiction problems and stuff. Have you got anything online with your recovery program?
We've got a website. www.breakfreesupport.com. There's you can register on there. Obviously, we're overwhelmed, Paul, with people reaching out. Our course is full at the minute, but we do take on, like, at the end of every 12 weeks, so you can register. We're now going to be starting doing one-to-ones. Obviously, we've got staff and offices to pay for, and rooms when we hire rooms and stuff, so there is a fee. But it's like £30 a week to get your life back, and that's for us to really keep going. That's about it. Like, I've sat there and spent thousands every weekend. If someone had said to me, give 30 quid a week and I'll give you your life back in 12 weeks and give you all the support and get you to talk about it, I'd have just gone, oh my God. There's people coming to our programme who have gone to rehab and spent £10,000 being locked away for 6 weeks in rehab. They've come out into the real world and not understood the triggers or had any tools to deal with life again. And they've relapsed, and they're coming to us now and going, that didn't work. It does for some, but you've got to have the tools to deal with.
Exactly, mate. And the fact that you're so out there about it, you're so relatable. You know, we spoke about this again, Lee, is like, you know, if I wanted to learn how to box, which I mentioned to you, then I would go to someone who boxed to teach me how to box. You know what I mean? Or someone that had experience in boxing. I wouldn't go to someone who'd never boxed. So if I'm going to someone personally, this is my preference, you know what I mean? If I was at an addiction problem, I'd go to someone who set something up like yourself, who has suffered with addiction, who's a normal Scouse lad, and what worked for him.
And I totally agree with you.
That's where I come from, you know what I mean? Because you're so relatable.
I've been in and out of recovery and recovery groups, Addiction, Sharp, AA, CA, all of them, and sat with people. And I've sat with, I remember going to see one certain counsellor, and she was only young. And she'd obviously been to uni or college and got studied, like, addiction. But I just couldn't relate because she'd never taken drugs before. And I'm not saying I'm right or wrong. I'm just saying for me, I see the results from people. There'll be people watching this now, right, who are struggling with their drinking and taking drugs, who will go, fucking hell, everything he's just said is like what's going on in my head. That's when you get hope. I know from when I sat in my group meetings of a Thursday, I used to go every week to Hope Street and sit in my recovery group. I know when I heard someone telling me what was going on in my head, there was a sense of relief. Like, I can sit with people and go, I can tell them what their addiction's saying to them. And they go, fucking hell. I can tell them what it was saying on the way to our walk of a Saturday. At the start of the walk, the new ones who've come for the first time, I say, right, welcome everyone, well done. 1-0 to you this morning, because I bet your addiction was saying to you, don't come. What if you know someone? What if you see someone there you know? What are you going to say? What if there's any pictures put up online? Oh my God, just say you're not well. You weren't as bad as you thought you were. You probably do this yourself, you know. You don't need to go. And they all go, oh my God, man, said every one of them.
Yeah.
And I say, that's just your addiction. I said, this is a great way for you to learn about the separation, because all these things you were hearing on the way here, compare them to all the things you're hearing on when you leave. And when they leave, they're like, that was amazing. That, oh my God, I can't wait for next week. That's the real you there. And that was your addiction coming in. Your addiction stopping you from coming and getting the support, because your addiction knows, shit, if they go there, they're going to shine a light on me, and I'm going to stop getting what I want, drinking drugs. So I'm going to talk her into not going, or talk him into not going. And I say to them, that's what I'm on about. That was your addiction on the way in. Well recognised. Now you know what it was. That's you on the way out. Thanks, everyone. That was amazing. Oh, my God, I can't wait for next week. See you all this week. How are you? Yeah, all right. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's the 2 years that are at war. And once you can start to recognise it, and that's what we give, our programme gives you that ability to recognise your addiction. And it's just like, it was a light bulb for me. I was like, oh, my God, me primitive brain's running the show here. But once your right inner voice takes control and starts winning the battles, you take the control back.
Yeah. Love that, mate. Boss, I'm just going to ask you a couple of quick questions, mate, before we wrap up.
We have a drink before I take these.
I could actually, mate, honestly, I can fucking talk to you all day about all this, you know.
I know.
Honestly, mate, we'll have to go for the coffee again on Monday.
Definitely.
So I usually, you know, at the end of the podcast, I'll ask a couple of questions. And I always do like to ask the men that I have on the programme, Lee, what does it mean to you to be a man? And this is just for people watching, you know what I mean?
I knew you'd go deep on me with these ones at the end. I was trying to predict these, you know. What was your favourite tune? I thought you were going to go with. Name me your famous tune from the quad. I was going to go, yeah, I've got 5 written down there. Ask me again. Ask me that question again. Let me think about it.
What does it mean to you to be a man?
Loving, thoughtful, trustworthy, honest, reliable, a dad, and all them things that I've just mentioned make me a good dad. Accountable, honest, loving, thoughtful, all them things. Humble. I've become all them things in my recovery. I always was them, but they wouldn't shine. Now I know. I can say I'm them things now, and I fucking know I am. I know I am, and that's, to me, makes me a proper man, like.
Boss, mate.
Yeah.
Next one, mate.
It was emotional saying that.
I know.
It was.
Felt a bit emotional.
It was, yeah. It was. I felt like
feel it, you know.
Yeah, I got quite emotional then. But that's a nice thing.
It's welcome, mate, isn't it?
Yeah, of course
welcome,
it is.
Man.
Yeah.
Boss.
Yeah.
If you could recommend one book, what would it be?
It would be the book that I took. Everything you're hearing me talk about tonight, the breakdown of the brain, the separation, all of it, the recognition, the inspiration for our programme, our AVA, Addictive Voice Awareness programme we do with Break Free, is taken. I took most of the learning came from Rational Recovery by Jack Trimpey. It's called Rational Recovery. It's on Amazon. It's a tenner. Best tenner you'll ever spend. Rational Recovery, AVRT, Addictive Voice Recognition Technique by Jack Trimpey. It's written in a very American, so sometimes the Yanks write, and your addiction will try and stop you reading it. Mind it, this is bollocks, this. That's your addiction. Once you've got, like, my level of separation with my addiction's frightening, honestly. And when I'm helping people, I even hear them, we've got a great technique when people's addiction gets hold of them. It's trying to control the letter I. So when your addiction first starts talking to these people, they're going, you're boring now, and you need a drink. When it really hounds you, it takes the you and replaces it with I. And they reach out to me and go, I had someone before come here, I've been helping someone on the phone, and he went, I've just left work and I just want to go to the pub. And I say, do us a favour, get that I and put a T on the end. I said, that will give you the separation you need.
Love that.
And that goes, it wants to go to the pub for a drink. Then it ought instantly not you. It, the beast, the animal, my addiction, wants to go to the pub. And giving people that separation is amazing. And that, the inspiration on the technique came from the book, but the course we do in the program is so much more than the book, because it's all the experience. There's so much we do that's not in it.
Yeah.
But the separation came from that.
Yeah.
And that's Rational Recovery by Jack Simpy. It's a boss.
Brilliant. We'll get that put on the podcast,
Yeah,
mate, you know what I mean? If anyone is watching or listening and struggling with mental health or addiction, what would you recommend them do now?
Reach out for support. Like, your addiction will be talking to you, saying you don't need to. Well, if you know someone, well, if it's a girl, well, I hear all the reasons that people won't reach out all the time. The reason people reach out to me and my emails blow up when I do something, or our inboxes are always going like, and that's the sad thing with the stigma of addiction and mental health, is that it's getting better with mental health. There's a lot more awareness and talk about it okay to reach out now. But with addiction, people, especially women, we've got lots of women in our group. Initially, they won't go to Add Action or the doctor or Sharp Recovery and register and give the details and what's your doctor's name, because they're scared of getting the kids stuck off them. So when I talk about it, they're like, he's real, I can relate to Lee. I've brought up listening to him, I've been to loads of his gigs, I'm going to reach out to him.
Yeah.
So we want to set a program up which is safe for you to come and trust us. So I would say reach out. It was like, if I hadn't reached out, and it took me a lot of learning, and this is all the learning we've got, as you said, all the experience, we're handing over. I'm just handing it over to everybody else now. That's all I'm doing.
With that info, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm just like, I just want you to have a piece of what I've got. That's all I want out of this, is to give them people hope. But you can't get it without reaching out. You can't. I can see the work you're doing, and I'm like, couldn't take that one person to inbox you to go, you know what, I'm struggling. I know I am. And sitting with them thoughts is not a nice place to be. Whether it's mental health, I talk about the beast of addiction, but it can be the beast of depression, the beast of negativity, that one that's always talking you down, saying you're no good, saying you're not worthy. That's the same beast that could be talking to you about drinking and using. I see it and hear it. People in our groups who are saying, yeah, but it's telling me like me missus will leave me and fucking I'm not good enough and she doesn't love me really. And I see people who haven't got addiction problems, they're getting hounded by this beast of negativity and addiction. Yeah. It's drowning them with like they're not worthy. And like reaching out to someone like you or someone like us for our program, but just give you all the learning and understanding and the contentment to go, have this.
You'll never look back.
No.
You'll never look back, Lee, will you?
And you know what, Paul? I couldn't have done it on my own. And that's the biggest flag I can raise for the importance of reaching out. I could not have done it on my own. If I'd have sat with that, I don't know where it'd have been. I wouldn't have had my wife and kids.
Shame.
Whether I'd still be here or not is debatable. Because if I had continued to use and not reached out, my counsellor, Chris Farrell, I followed my life because he taught me this. It was his recovery group that was based on this group, on this book. And his passion to help me was second to none. When I'd go missing, and I learned the hard way a lot of the times, I'd fall for the lie. The beast from the cage would trick me to let it out, and it'd let me out thinking I was getting this little, don't go mad, just have a couple, just the matches on, you deserve it. Your bird's having a bevy, just do that. Oh, man, but the kids aren't here. Oh, I do a bit of fucking bonking tonight with her, throwing all that in me. And then I'd fall for it, And there I was sitting downstairs on my own 2 days later. I hadn't fucking been bunkering my fucking missus. I was watching fucking Sky Sports on mute. And she was upstairs asleep. I didn't get the deal it offered. Right.
Yeah.
I learned the hard way. But every time I went missing and didn't come back, this man would knock on my door. And like, if I'd go missing for weeks, he'd knock at my house and go, what's going on? He'd ring me. He didn't give up on me, ever. And like, if I hadn't reached out to support, I wouldn't have had that. I wouldn't be here doing this.
Boss, mate. I'm going to ask you one more question, mate. If you could say one thing to a younger Lee, what would it be?
Bloody hell, Paul. I wouldn't expect to answer these on the spot. These are heavy days, aren't they?
That was not even written down, mate. I just thought of that then.
That's
I thought I wanted to ask them that.
All them is that your notes?
It's only questions.
That was just questions.
I haven't even got through half of them.
I'll do part 2 in the end.
Therefore, mate.
Oh my God, I don't know. Initially, I'm going, don't take drugs. But I feel like I've got better advice to give myself. I can't quite find it at the moment. You know, do I regret taking drugs? If I had the choice, I wish I didn't. But even that, I find, like, it's off the back of what you said. Was this my course? Was this my path? Was this passion that I've got now for it, as well as my music? My career's even like now. But then I look back and think, well, if I hadn't took drugs, I might be fucking retired on a beach now, a millionaire. I don't know. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? But I don't know. If I give a younger Lee advice, always be honest. My addiction turned me into a terrible liar, Paul. Manipulating, lying, deceitful person. That's the part I do regret. That bit. And if I could give me younger Lee, probably a bit of advice would be always be honest. I think honesty is a fantastic thing to have. Because honesty, if you're always honest, you tend to be quite humble and you're always truthful to yourself as well. And I think honesty is a fabulous quality to have. Even honesty with your friends, even when you're honest and giving them advice they don't want to hear. I've got, like, your good mates are the ones that will give you that honest advice, even if they don't think you want to hear it. They're the best mates, I think.
Yeah.
You know, you can have certain people who would just agree with you because they think that's what you want to hear. The ones who'll stand the ground with you and tell you honestly are the good ones, and maybe that. But it's a proper deep question. That I'll have to come on your courses. I love these. You're gonna have me crying near the end.
It's all right, mate. Definitely, you're more than welcome, mate.
I'm gonna,
absolutely get on it, man. I'd love to have you on it. You know,
Boss.
really would, mate. Get on it, boss. Anything to finish on, Lee? What's coming up for you? You got anything to promote, mate, before we close the show out?
I just say one of the amazing things that come with recovery, and anyone who's watching this, you know, I want to give them hope. You know, like, since I stopped drinking and taking drugs, I'll never use the word can't. We tell everyone in our recovery, don't say I can't drink and I can't take drugs anymore, because that means like your shoulders are down and you wish you could, but you can't. It's your choice. I choose never to drink or use again because of the rewards that it gives me. My radio station, like, in demand, it's just such a breath of fresh air. It was a massive task that me and the team and Cocky and all the team did to create for Liverpool. And I'm so proud of my team and I'm so proud of myself. I've never done that. Never in a million years would I have been fitting well enough to do that. You know, my festival, Reminisce, this year, we've got Reminisce Manchester, the 5th of March, in the warehouses at Victoria Warehouse. We've got the Echo Arena this year for a Reminisce Arena tour.
Have you,
in May, bank holiday.
Pleasure rooms on in there?
What?
Any pleasure rooms, MCs on, mate?
Yeah. Paula Waite. We've got that in May. We've got the festival returning after a stressful year last year. That returns again in September. And some of the plans for the Fezzy this year are like we had to take a lot from last year. It was tough. Coming out off the back of lockdown, was just so difficult to run a festival. I'm not making excuses, but it was so hard. And lots of stuff we did get wrong, with lots of stuff which just, we couldn't get security. We like the security we had from all over the country. They weren't our team we had normally, and there was so many things. The Wi-Fi, the internet went down. We couldn't get Wi-Fi on the bars, and lots of it was our own mistakes as well. But it all culminated in a really, for a minority of people, had a bad experience. Majority I speak to had a ball, but there was, and I couldn't sit here and lie and say it went perfect. But this year, like, we've got so many amazing things, such a huge announcement to come, like, about something we've wanted for a long time at the festival this year that we've got finally this year, and like all the things that we struggled with last year is such an easy fix for us this year. So we're so excited about that, and I'm dead excited about just getting some time back for myself, like me time. One thing I've learned is that time's so valuable. Like, I lost so much of it when I was young, and that's probably now one of the advice I'd give myself, is that, like, cherish that time you've
precious,
got.
mate.
Oh my God, I'm fighting to get it back now, because that's definitely the advice I would give myself when I was younger. Is like, you can't replace the time. It's so important. You can't get it back. And now at my age now, I'm like, really, I've worked so hard. Like, I work all week on the Brekkie show. I'm working my raving fits through the week. I do my recovery meetings twice a week. So I'm up at 4:30, and then I'm going to do my raving fits or my recovery groups. Then the weekend comes, and most people, they go, I've got the weekend off. But then all my gigs start, and I'm up till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning gigging. And then Sunday comes, I get one day to rest, and I'm back up for breakfast. And I'm really, really my granddaughter's here, who's just like, and all these things just make me go, you know what? I just want to claim some time for me and my family, and like find a better balance for myself. I think that's what I want to do this year. Still have my passions, but find that time for, like,
balance.
Yeah. I've never had that balance. I think when I broke free from my addiction, I was like, I just threw myself into everything. But now I know I'll never go back, and I know I'll never drink use again. I'm finally at real peace. I'm like, you know what? I don't need to be working and doing this. I'm going to pick the things that I'm really passionate about. But I'm passionate about my family, my kids and my granddaughter, and spending time abroad with them, and like doing nice things. But thank you for giving me the opportunity to give people hope, to share, for me to talk, and to come on, mate. Sure it'll connect great with people. Thank you, mate.
Boss, honestly, thank you for it. Yeah,
welcome, mate.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
It's been a pleasure having you on.
Boss that.
Boss.